I was trying to explain to my kids what Wu-Tang was because someone wrote something Wu-Tang and Benson, and I'm like, I don't really know, but it's like a rap group from like the 80s and 90s, maybe. It's like old school. I know nothing about it.
We should do a whole segment called Homeschool Ben Explains Rap to Young People. That's
To the kids?
Oh my gosh. That's
Hey, welcome to Growing a Fruitful Brand, where we discuss how to create and grow a brand that makes the world a better place for you, your customers, and your employees. I'm Ben Luters, founder and art director of Fruitful Design and Strategy, and this is my business partner and brand strategist, Raj Lula. And if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you might have noticed we took a little break. Welcome to season 4 of Growing a Fruitful Brand. And we did a lot of things while we were on break. We were working on our business. We were getting some good personal time. But it's been a minute.
What's the best thing that you did? And it's been about 4 months since we released one.
Wow.
What's the best thing you did in that time?
That's not hard for me because, as some of you may know, I grew up in Hawaii on the island of Oahu. And it was a really great childhood, a lot of great memories. But I've never been able to bring my family there, and I've got 5 kids, and I've been telling them stories about this place. It's kind of like I built it up to like mythical proportions, and we finally were able to go and do an awesome family vacation in Hawaii, show them where I grew up, and it was priceless.
Did you have to like rent a private plane to take that many people on one trip?
That would have been nice, actually, because
you're an entire boarding group on Southwest.
Yeah, exactly. The funny thing is, actually, some of you, especially on the West Coast, might remember there was a tsunami warning. That was the day we were supposed to fly back, so we actually got stranded a little bit, and there was a lot of logistical complications. But we're here. We survived.
I very much feel like you faked that whole tsunami warning to stay in Hawaii a few more days.
Tsunami's coming.
Oh, no.
Guess we need a few extra days. I wish. It was actually a lot of like lack of sleep and stressful things.
Yeah. I'm really thankful nothing really happened. It's good, obviously.
The 2-inch tsunami. What about you, Raj? What did you do during break?
Yeah, so I had a really interesting summer. Something a lot of people don't know about me is that I grew up as a part of an elite children's choir. In the world of children's choirs, especially in the U.S., there's one that stands out. It's called the American Boy Choir. These kids actually go and live at this facility. I think it's in New Jersey. And they live and they like rehearse every day, all of that. I remember a friend of mine from our choir here in Nebraska got recruited to there, ended up moving, living there, like being part of that choir and everything. So we were kind of on that level. But we were a community choir based out of University of Nebraska of Omaha here, and the guy who taught choral, conducting and conducted the choir there was a guy named Dr. Z. Randall Stroop. He's now an internationally known composer, and in fact, if you've got kids, I would not be surprised if your kids have sung something by him in choir. He's a very well known, prolific composer now. And will probably go down as one of America's best choral composers of all time.
That's amazing.
And so all that to say, this summer, the choir that I was in did a reunion concert. And you have to understand that I hadn't seen a lot of these people in 25 years.
Wow.
And most of us were like, I'm not sure I've got the chops anymore.
That's a long time.
A lot of us are... I won't speak for anybody else, but broken down middle-aged people right here. And so it's just like, can we actually do this? And I know everybody else was kind of feeling that intimidation as well. And so we did a couple of pickup rehearsals. And I say pickup on purpose because it was kind of like pickup basketball, at the gym where it's like, oh, yeah, I played in 8th grade,
Let's see if I still got it.
Yeah.
If you don't use it, you lose it. That's what I've heard.
Where's the icy hot? That kind of thing. So anyway, we did a couple of pickup rehearsals, and then that same week after the performance, which went great, and it was really fun, really meaningful, because I will say it's a lot easier to sing in front of other people when you're not like 13 or 14 anymore.
Oh, interesting.
When you're not
I should try that.
Also, just going through puberty and like trying to figure out who you are as a person. Now you're 40 and trying to figure out who you are as a person.
It's a little different.
No, it's a lot different. But that same week, then Lindsay and I got to go down to Southern California for the first time, at least this part of Southern California, for the first time, basically since we left probably 15 years ago.
Wow.
And so before our kids were born. And we got to see places that were important to us when we were dating and, where we got engaged, all those kinds of things. And, so really, really wonderful, meaningful time of connecting with two different parts of my past all in the same week. So it was really
very awesome.
Really meaningful.
Well, speaking of choirs, we're actually talking about music today in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
At least we're going to use that as a segue into a bigger topic. Raj, you want to kind of tell us what we're talking about today?
Yeah. So, one of the other reasons that we've been, kind of out of the loop for a minute here is because I don't know about anybody else, but it feels like the world's pretty different this year. We've had the tariffs and that conversation since about, early April. And social media has been as big or bigger of a dumpster fire than ever.
Bigger.
Literally had a social media, platform owner working in the White House for a good part of the year here. And so part of it was like, how do you market? How do you communicate into this world? And then you also have AI blowing up. You have kind of stuff that's starting to become much more difficult to tell if it's real or fake, if that's even a distinction that we're trying to make anymore. But then this new thing happened that we're like, okay, now we know what we got to talk about. And that is recently people have been noticing that on their Spotify playlists, this new artist has been coming up that they've never heard of, but it sounds like an old artist. So it kind of sounds like 60s, 70s. It would kind of fit in with Beatles, that kind of stuff. And people are going, what is this band? Like, how have I never heard of them? And so they go to the profile and it's kind of vague. It's like, oh, we're from California and we like guitars or whatever,
Yeah.
And people dig into it and they realize that this band isn't real. People are calling them ghost artists, like the ghost artists and ghost songs. They're AI generated. And I've seen stuff like this for a while. People, using AI to like mash up other songs. What if "Gangster's Paradise" was sung by Dolly Parton, or like that?
Yeah, it's
kind
of
thing.
A fun thing to play around with.
Yeah,
but it's actually happening. And Raj isn't a Spotify user, and probably for the better. I am. I'm like kind of really like I've been in the Spotify universe for a long time. And it's already started happening to me. Like it's in my Discover Weeklies, this has been happening where it's like I'm looking like, who is this? And I go and I'm like, this is like an AI generated image, and there's like no information in their bio. And why are they doing this, Raj? Like, what would be the benefit to Spotify for doing this?
Well, so I'm curious for you, having listened to some of these songs.
Yeah,
are they good? Like, do you like them?
Well, I mean, none of them are like my favorite songs, but like it's scary how real they sound. Like that is totally true. It's a little bit frightening. I mean, that's the reaction I get is like if you're just listening passively, if you're not listening critically, I mean, they just sound like it could be because they're teeing you up these fake artists, these ghost artists that are based on styles they know you like.
Yeah,
it's basically they're using AI to game like what they know that you like because they've been watching me for a long time. They've been they know what I listen to, what I skip, what I don't, and so it is kind of weird how good they are. The one that I noticed just recently was like an actual artist like singing with an AI artist, and I don't really even know what that's about. That's like kind of odd, but like. There's a feeling of confusion. I feel like that kind of comes when you
uncanny valley sort of.
Yeah, it's just like what is this? This idea of that you could have art without artists.
Yeah,
that is like kind of as an artist, as a musician as well, a visual artist. It's a weird prospect to think that we could be. Living in a world of art without artists.
I think that really also begs the question of, is it art? Which is obviously that huge question that people have been asking for a long time. So to your question, why would Spotify do this? If it's like, okay, so AI generated songs aren't going to be able to, touch someone's soul in this way, at least not most likely. As you probably know how streaming works, when you play a song, an artist gets a fraction of a penny. And so people need to get billions of streams, billions of listening hours to make a decent living as an artist. Most of their money is going to be made from touring and those types of things, which is funny because that's actually sort of like opposite of how it used to be in some ways.
Right.
So they have to, Spotify has to pay artists when their songs are streamed. So if Spotify creates the artist from technology and creates the song and owns both the IP of the ghost artist and the ghost song, they pay themselves. They don't have to pay anybody.
Yeah.
And so it's essentially displacing real artists with fake artists and fake music and getting away with it.
Well, and this only works in Spotify's ecosystem and the way that they have kind of like encouraged and created this passive listening where you're not so much, searching for and listening to specific albums as much. It really is in these playlists and in these smart playlists and these AI DJs and stuff like that. And so you get really used to, for those of you who are in the Spotify universe, you know that a lot of it is like they make these playlists for you, and they just kind of keep going. They're kind of these smart playlists. And so that's how they're doing this, is usually you're listening to all this stuff that, you've listened to before, things you like, some new things, and then they just start sneaking these things in. Yeah. Because you're just passively, and if you're just like, doing a chore or driving, you may not be like, oh, what is this necessarily? Yeah. So that's how they get you.
Yeah, I would say this is very similar to, the book The Jungle by Upton Sinclair, where these sausage companies were filling their sausages with sawdust. And this like led partly to the creation of the USDA, FDA, like all those things that keep us safe. And and it's like, that's essentially like Spotify's making sawdust sausages now.
They're trying to figure out how much sawdust can they put in before we notice.
Yeah, because I mean, you think about it, like if 30% of your playlist is fake, they've saved 30% of their biggest expense, which is paying out an artist.
Yeah,
30%.
Crazy.
Like, what would you do to cut 30% of your costs as an employer?
That's insane.
Yeah,
man.
There's almost nothing else you could do. Just like, oh, we're going to raise profit margins by 30% overnight.
Yeah.
And so their motive is clear.
Oh yeah.
What it does for us or doesn't do for us is something we should talk about. So let's talk about that question now of like, what happens the first time that you hear Spotify's song that does actually move you, like an AI generated song that you feel like, man, this takes me back to a point in my life, or this really connects with what I'm going through right now.
Yeah.
What happens at that point? Just kind of walk me through it. Like, imagine yourself in that situation. You're either driving or you're doing the dishes or whatever. You hear a song. It's got
and you don't know it's AI.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know.
But then you find out. You're saying,
well,
like,
so walk me through it. Like, what happens when you normally hear a song that you love for the first time, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I either got to listen to it again or what? Like, tell me, what would you do?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to think about. I mean, I think that it could move me. It could make me pull over. I've already heard enough that like it's getting really close to that. But I think the moment that I find out that it's not real, it ruins it for me. I don't know. It takes me out of the game. It's like, because I've had that with AI art and stuff too, like, visual art. Like, there's things that I see. It's like, wow, that's like really cool. That's really interesting. But like the moment that I find out that someone didn't, draw each stroke in and the thought that goes into the composition and the color and the story, as soon as I realize like, oh no, that was just kind of thrown together, it immediately goes into a different category in my mind. And I hope that never changes. Yeah. Like I don't know. I'd be curious, listeners, like if you're the same, but like it immediately, when I find out something was created by AI, whether it's video, whether it's audio, whether it's visual, or an image of some kind, and as soon as I find out that it is that, it just immediately goes into a different category in my mind.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean it's bad necessarily. And like I've used more AI than I thought I would in different processes and stuff like that. But it goes into a mind of like, oh, this is research, this is prototyping, this is a placeholder, this is like, that's the part of my brain that it goes to, because for something to be real, it needs to be, I think, created in a real way. Yeah. What about for you? Like, do you think?
So I think
what happens? Do you cry? Like, what?
Yeah, I think I'm going to challenge the idea that it's not bad. And I will say, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that using AI is bad.
Yeah.
I'm saying that the idea of working towards creating a song with AI that makes another human cry, that like deeply resonates with another human, I think is bad. And here's why. I think it's sociopathic. Like
this is bold.
If you think about the way that a sociopath or a narcissist would worm their way into your life, picking up little data points about you, like, oh, you like your coffee with cream, you don't like your coffee with cream. Oh, you like this Mexican food restaurant and not that one. You'd rather have hot salsa on your Chipotle burrito or not. And like, if you think about if we hired an assistant that was a sociopath or a narcissist and started like just picking up on all these little things about you, at first you'd be like, oh my gosh, like this assistant's so good.
They
like,
know me.
Yeah. But then if they started like kind of starting to latch onto you in a weird way, you know, like if they're like, oh, hey, you know, I know you had the kid's birthday yesterday, so bet you were busy, and so I you know, brought you an extra big cup of coffee this morning, and then it's like, oh, you know, you're I don't know, just whatever happened, like, oh, like, how you doing? Like, is your wife taking care of you? Whatever. And it starts to get into that, like, little, like, just trying to worm their way into your life, and, you know, whether seduce you or become your best friend or steal your money or whatever, like, just these like little encroachments because of all the things they know about you in order to like grab something from you.
I mean, the algorithm is doing this with social media and like ads and stuff like this already, where it's like, oh gosh, I guess I do kind of like that, but how did you know? And it's like that icky. It's like too far. It's like,
part of the reason that we react negatively to it is because unless it comes from a genuine act of care, then we don't actually want it. I would actually liken it to pornography in that way. Yeah. You know, is that the way that it titillates, the way that it you know, plays on your senses and desires and those things.
It's been engineered to be this like thing that's unrealistic.
And again, it goes so much further because it's saying like, hey, we know that we can manipulate you with technology because of the things that we've learned about you with technology. Yeah. And so like we're gonna be your favorite song. We're gonna and you can only get it here on Spotify because we made it with our AI and whatever. It's never gonna be on vinyl. You can't buy it from iTunes or whatever. Yeah. So if you want to hear your favorite song for the rest of your life, you want to hear your favorite song on your deathbed, make sure you keep that Spotify Premium subscription up with no ads.
As soon as you find out they're not just making these AI artists for you to make you happy. It's for money. It's like you find out that this is like they're doing these things and not just so they make more money, but so that the actual artists get less money. Yeah. Because if you listen to this more, you will listen to definitely Taylor less, but then also like all these other artists who are trying to, you know, make it, you know. And so
not to mention it being based on the music of like of all time, and all those artists, many of whom are deceased, didn't have any ability to say whether or not their music could be used in this way. Yeah, and so there's a huge intellectual property concern here, but even beyond that, just like an ethical concern. And you know, I have no problem with coming down hard on Spotify because I think that they're drug dealers, basically.
Hey, I'm still on Spotify. I am definitely feeling a push to get off, not just in this conversation, but for lots of other reasons, including music streaming quality. That's a whole nother thing we could talk about.
I've literally actually always hated their business model because I'm not joking when I say drug dealers, because you know, the way that you can, if you don't have a paid account, the way you can go listen to one song, but you can't like listen to an album in order without it, because it's like, well, if you want it unshuffled, you have to pay us. If you want it without ads, you have to pay.
The premium experience is bad. That's why everyone's on premium.
It's literally the same as the drug dealer's first hit is free model. Like you can listen to one, but if you want the rest, you have to pay us. And it's like music does things chemically to your brain. And so it's like, well, I guess I have to pay for it now. And
well, tell me, you're kind of more in the Apple Music like ecosystem, but I'm just curious, like, one of the things that is the reason I'm on Spotify, and also the thing I hate about it, is this whole like playlist thing and the smart playlist. In some ways, it's cool. I do discover new stuff that I hadn't heard before. It's probably all AI now, but I don't listen to albums as albums anymore. I have the potential of listening to anything on earth at any moment, basically, and yet I don't experience things the same way that I did when I had a CD. Like, I think I actually listened to music more back in the like CD Walkman days or something, where it's like, I got this new album, whether it's Coldplay or Weezer or something, and like it plays in my car for a while. It just like lives in my car for like 4 months. I listen to it on my yellow Sony CD Walkman while I'm mowing the lawn when I'm like 14 years old or whatever. But anyways, I just listen to music differently. I think we all do. Is it the same kind of in Apple Music? Like, you're just listening to more like playlists that either you make or others, and you don't listen to like albums as albums so much anymore?
I may not be your ideal person here, because I don't feel like I need that from Spotify. I've never, I think I've had Spotify Premium at different times. I've never gotten any.
You're not addicted.
I've never gotten any value out of it that I don't get from Apple Music.
Yeah.
Part of it is because I like to make my own playlists. Every Christmas, I make a playlist based on what I think this holiday season feels like. And so some years it's kind of slow and reflective. Some years it's upbeat and like jingle bells. And I do that actually for every season. This year I've had a winter, spring, summer.
You're too intentional, Raj. You should be a strategist.
I love one feature I love about my iPhone is you can swipe down really easily and hit the Shazam song recognition from Shazam, and like it's really great. And
that's AI, right?
Well,
that's a good use of
this is the
tool.
Thing. It's like I'm not against AI. Like, I like that. Sound recognition. That's a great use of AI. I use Siri every day to add stuff to my grocery list, and voice recognition,
or even AI like helping you find new artists that are similar to
100%.
That doesn't sound bad. It's like when they make the artist. That's it's a step too far.
It's using artists to stab artists in the back is a real problem, and not just because yes, of course we're creatives and we don't think creatives should be stabbed in the back that way, but one of the things that's really interesting about songs in particular is so I've always liked sad songs. I'm just kind of that type of person. And I think anybody who says they don't at some point in their life like sad songs, they're lying, I think. But and part of the reason is that neurochemically, when you listen to a sad song, your body releases hormones. One of them is so you get dopamine, potentially you get oxytocin, potentially. Dopamine is known as kind of the happiness one. Oxytocin is like the bonding chemical, like when a parent holds a baby, like that kind of thing. But there's this other one, prolactin, that your brain releases when you listen to a sad song. That's the same hormone that your body releases when you cry. And so like that relief, that like just got to get this out thing.
Yeah.
But without crying.
Oh, it's the best.
So like you can get that feeling of relief, that all
That's why I listen to sad music all the time.
But interestingly, if I understand this right, prolactin makes you crave connection with another human. And so like, in the same way that it's pretty sad to cry alone, like the first thing you want is like a hug from somebody else or whatever. Like you don't want to, like we kind of joke about like crying in your car is like the saddest thing, And so like a sad song produces a desire, both relief, but also a desire for connection in you. And
now AI can do that, Raj. That's the cool thing.
Well, so that's the thing that I think is really dystopian about this whole thing, is that and why, like you talk about how as soon as you find out it's not real, like it's almost like a switch flips for you.
Yeah.
And I
doesn't matter how good it is.
And I think it's because we are wired for this connection. And when we find out that there's no possibility of connection there, it's like any of the AI movies where like the AI is the bad guy, right? Where like Hal tries to destroy you on the ship, or her, and the girlfriend, the AI girlfriend, all that. Like all of that stuff. It's that feeling that we get. We're just like, oh, I'm falling in love with a server farm.
But you've seen this happening.
Like,
You've seen these stories of people falling in love with AIs.
Yeah, I mean,
And like,
yeah.
Like this is like.
But that's what's so dystopian about
Yeah.
it.
It's like I know it's like something that you never thought that you would see, and now here it is. But it's funny. I just thought of this. Kind of proving this point, a real life example. So Raj knows, famously, I've just never been much of a U2 fan. I just never like connected. I know like a lot of their big hits, but just like, I don't know, just never.
It's
really
okay to be
connected
wrong.
with me. Yeah. But Raj is like, hey, you should listen to the audiobook of Bono's memoir, Surrender. He's like, it's a really good audiobook. There's some songs in there. There's some other fun stuff. And so I was like jogging, and I was like, I'll give this thing a try. Instantly hooked. And the cool thing about this, it goes through like 40 songs or something like that. You hear the stories behind all these songs. And this proves the whole thing we were just talking about. Suddenly I'm like, I want to listen to you too. And then I'm like listening to it and like, I'm liking it more because I understand what it's about. Like Sunday, Bloody Sunday, what is this to me? Yep. Now that's like, that song has all kinds of meaning to me, and I understand like what it meant at the time and how, risky it was to be singing about that. Like, I'm like sucked in. Like my wife hates it because like I'm like all into U2 and I want to like listen to it. I'm like doing U2 covers on the piano and like all this stuff. It's like I'm becoming a fan, and it's just interesting just hearing the output in the abstract from me. I never made that connection in the same way. There's a couple things I liked, but like now that I know the story and I've heard about like just what it came out of, and I would also say similar Coldplay. I think I appreciated Coldplay more when I watched that documentary that was on Amazon Prime. I can't remember what it's called. Do you remember what that's called?
A Head Full of Dreams, I think.
Yeah. That was like so cool. Just hearing their story as a band, just like it just makes it mean so much more. And so like, yeah, I will probably continue to listen to and be more interested in what any of those artists create in the future. Yeah. Do you want to talk about Coldplay?
Yeah. So it brings up.
We're dating ourselves. U2 and Coldplay, they're the coolest new thing.
Coldplay's still touring. I saw them this summer. Kind of going to that point.
Didn't you get caught on a kiss cam with your wife or something?
I went with my daughter to Coldplay.
That's the hug cam. The side hug cam.
So when this really interesting thing has happened this year with Coldplay. And this will kind of take us to where we're finishing up here today. But this interesting thing happened with Coldplay this year with, they released a new album. I think it was still earlier this year. And so you expect that to be where they get the hits. They're on tour again, all that. Maybe it came out last fall, but it's within the year here. The new album, new tour, all that kind of thing. We flew all the way to Denver to go see them. It was my daughter's first time to see them. Did that for her birthday. And really just amazing experience.
Does she like him as much as you do?
I think maybe now.
Probably now. Yeah. That's another thing. See a band live.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who they are. You gain an appreciation.
Yeah. Well, and our concert was really interesting because we're in Denver and you see the clouds start to go over and you go, I wonder if that's a problem because it's an open air stadium. It's where the Denver Broncos play. And okay, I don't know. And then all of a sudden flashes up on the screen, this area is under a severe thunderstorm warning. Be prepared to evacuate. And it's like, oh man, we flew all the way out
it's
here.
It's like my Hawaii tsunami all over again.
Yeah. And so some people go down, in the concourse or whatever. We just had to wait it out a little bit, and it sprinkles a little bit. Not a big deal. It mostly misses us. And then the countdown starts with the band, and they've got kind of this whole pre-show thing. The lights start to flash, all that, and the band comes up through the underground and onto the stage, and everybody's cheering. And literally, like as the lights come up, it starts to rain on us, which was really cool because it honestly felt like Coldplay made it rain. Like
they probably did. They can control the weather now.
Like it was an effect of the show. And it was very, very cool because it was like the moment that the lights came up, and so it's raining on us, and like rain shows in music just have this kind of mythology where there's this one where the Goo Goo Dolls are playing, I think it's Iris, like in the rain. It's a really great clip. You can go watch it on YouTube.
It's a great song.
I want to say that their electric guitar player was practically being electrocuted. Like, well, he could feel the electric like hum through his fingers.
His favorite show.
You know, and so it's just like there's this mythology around rain shows, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is a show we're gonna have. Stops raining, I think mid first song, mid second song, which is okay with us because we don't want to be soaked by the end of the thing. But I start noticing that our wristbands aren't working. Our light up wristbands aren't working during the second song. I was like, oh, something's weird. Because Coldplay has created this entire stadium experience. I've described this to other people before, but you can't really understand it without being there. Which is like when the openers or the opening acts are on stage, the stadium feels huge and it feels kind of empty. And part of it's because people show up late because they're openers. Who cares?
It's because the openers are AI robots.
And stadium feels huge. When Coldplay gets on the stage, now part of it's a trick of lighting, but part of it's also just the magnetic personality that Chris has. It's the like all of the little details. The stadium starts to feel smaller. Like you feel like you're in a smaller venue when they take the stage and the lights and the music and all that kind of start, which is so weird because it's the same room you were in an hour before. And so I noticed the wristbands aren't working. I go, okay, something's weird. Because I've been to several Coldplay shows at this point, 3 or 4. And so, but Charlotte doesn't know. She's her first concert, so it's like, okay, whatever. And then between, I think it was like the second and third song, Chris acknowledges, he goes, hey, our tech's not working. And he's like, so this is going to be a little bit more like a, early 2000s show. And I was like, all right, I'm totally on board actually. Cause
I'm kind of stuck in the early 2000s. Like Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite.
And you know what's funny about it is that I think at another time, like maybe if it was my first show, I would have felt disappointed. Like, oh, I've seen all the clips on YouTube and the light up bands and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. But there was just this feeling that like, there's never going to be another show like this. And
yeah, it's a special moment.
Yeah. And another piece that kind of played into this, and this is where I'm going with this whole thing, is that a couple of weeks, I think it was like literally 2 weeks before Charlotte and I saw Coldplay this summer, there was a high profile story about how Chris Martin had broken up with Dakota Johnson, the actress who he was dating. And part of the reason it made the news was because, I mean, celebrity gossip, whatever.
Yeah.
But there was this clip of this song Sparks that was going around TikTok, went viral on TikTok, where Chris looked like he was almost in tears singing this song. It's really powerful. And you go, oh my gosh, like he's so connected to this song. And there's this line in the song, it's like, I won't let you down. Oh yeah, I will. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will. Yes, I really will. And so he's singing this almost in tears, and people are going, "Oh my gosh, it's because he just broke up," And again, so the sad song thing releases this like desire for connections and humans and all this, and we're all like, "Yeah, we're on board." Sparks is a 25-year-old song. It came out when I was still in high school. And I remember sitting in a Warehouse Music over here by this mall that doesn't have very many stores left in it anymore. And I listened to that entire album, and it was $9 at the time because nobody had heard it. They were only playing on college radio in the States. And I go, oh my gosh, this is a life-changing album. I listened to every song on that album sitting there in the record store, bought the physical CD, reviewed it in my high school newspaper. And 25 years later, it broke back into the Billboard 100 because of the way that he sang this song. And I'll tell you what, I cannot imagine a scenario where an AI song
there it is
breaks in like that.
Yeah.
And not only that, other songs from that album are now charting. And they have a new album out, one that's got a lot of great hits, like a lot of, We Pray is a really interesting song. And it's, it's a very danceable album.
Yeah.
And
There's
the
some good
like
stuff on it.
the high pop, like feel good stuff that they've kind of turned their concerts into now. That stuff is done well, but this like sad song, this kind of breakup song from 25 years ago is charting because people feel connected to it.
Oh yeah.
And I literally cannot imagine a scenario where a ghost song gets thousands, tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
And millions, via TikTok, to feel connected to both the artist and each other in this way. Sitting in this rainy stadium, and he sang Sparks that night too, and was equally emotional to the thing that we'd experienced as well. And it's just, I cannot imagine there being a time where we go, oh yeah, you know what? That computer generated song made me feel that way too.
Well, yeah, dude. Thanks for sharing that. That's really powerful. I got a little goosebumpy over here. I don't know which hormone was being released, but anyways, feel more connected to music in general. Want to go look up a couple of videos, but I wasn't even thinking about when you were asking me, the AI song that moves you or whatever makes you cry about like live shows and live performance. I mean, we've been kind of calling this, new thing that we want us to be talking about is kind of the human moment. And I think that's where we are right now. It's like we're humans, we always have been, and we've been experimenting with stuff that is unhuman, and emphasis on artificial. We just say AI so quickly, forget what it stands for, but it's like, this is artificial intelligence. Yeah. And there's human intelligence that I think will always resonate more than the artificial.
This is a moment where we're planting a flag in the ground saying like, hey, this is something that we're noticing. And creatives historically are about 12 to 18 to 24 months ahead of everybody else, because it's just like a little more sensitive, a little like picking up what's in the water here. And I'm really sensing that, you watch Spotify put out ghost artists and ghost songs, and then you watch a guy sing a 25-year-old song, and people that are the age of his children, maybe even younger than his children, listen to it and go, I've felt that before.
Well, you do see that a little bit when like a new biopic comes out.
Yeah.
Like the Elvis one. I know they just had the
Bob Dylan
one just came out. Or, there's been, Queen a few years back.
Johnny Cash
one. Yeah. Like, and I think there's always like an uptick or resurgence of that music. I know that after I watched the Elvis movie, I started listening to Elvis music a little bit differently.
Yeah. And all of that is about connection. Like everything you just said, like, oh, I felt connected to that movie. So I started listening to the music. So I felt connected to the music. Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned Elvis, because my grandma had a huge Elvis collection, and she passed away about a year and a half ago. And I will never hear an Elvis song the same way again, because it's immediately got new connections and new meaning for me. And seeing the movie helped as well. And so with the rise of AI generated content, and again, I'm not talking ill about the use of AI as a tool. What I am saying is, with the rise of it, making connections is going to matter more than ever. Yesterday, I was researching microphones and how they work, because I was looking for one for my Zoom setup. And
because you're a nerd, Raj, how they work.
One of the things that I found really interesting was that when people were talking about what microphone is good and what microphone is bad, they weren't just talking about what it picks up. They were also talking about what it rejects. Because the way a microphone works is that there's basically like a little, they call it a diaphragm, a little plate on the inside that vibrates with sound waves. Sound, it's a wave, it's air moving, and when it hits your ear interprets it as sound. Well, in order to reproduce that electronically, you got this little plate that vibrates. It vibrates a coil, then that turns an electronic signal, and then off through the machines it goes. And so it's really easy to create something that vibrates with sound. It's just something small enough, light enough. You could do it with a piece of paper if you really, if you got close enough and loud enough, like you can make a piece of paper vibrate. But what a microphone rejects makes it a good microphone. So does it vibrate if noise happens behind the microphone? Does it vibrate if the dog barks in another room? Does it vibrate if you're too far to the right or too far to the left? Do you want it to? Like, do you want it to be one that picks up the sound of the whole room? Or do you want it to be one that just picks up the sound of your voice? What happens if somebody's too close, somebody's too far? What happens if it's really high pitched? What happens if it's really low pitched? It turns out that getting a thing to vibrate, just to vibrate and pick up the fact that there's noise, not all that impressive. Getting a thing to pick up the right noise, the sound of the human voice, the warmth of a human voice, that's the trick. And the difference between a $100 microphone and a $1,000 microphone, a $10,000 microphone, really hinges not on what it picks up, but what it doesn't. And so connection is really about amplifying the right sound, the right signal, and rejecting the rest. And as there becomes more noise in our world, that's going to become more important than ever. And that's what we're going to be talking about.
Thanks for joining us today on Growing a Fruitful Brand. If you found today's show helpful, don't forget to subscribe and consider sharing it with someone who might also enjoy it.
If you'd like to work with Fruitful on a branding, website, or messaging project of your own, you can always reach out on our website, fruitful.design.
But until next time, don't forget to grow something good.